Hi guys, today we are going to be playing with some new to me makeup from Unearthly Cosmetics. Now this is a collection that actually I think it came out for Valentine's Day, but I got a PR package from them yesterday with this collection and it sold up pretty fast, so this isn't available when I'm filming this, but this should be available for pre-order when this video is going up. I do plan on posting this video the day that the pre-order goes live, so I just wanted to let you know that if you do want to get this collection, you can order it, but it might take a little while for it to ship. I will leave their website link down below if you want to go check all of this out, if this is something that you end up being interested in. But like I said, we're going to be trying out the Valentine's Day collection from them, and this is called the Sleepover collection. And this is so cute. So here is what the palette looks like. This is one of their 9-pan palettes with these square pans. And I think that this color story, if there is going to be a monochromatic palette, like this is the way that I want it to be done, because there are very light mattes, there's very dark mattes, there's very light shimmers, there's very dark shimmers, and that is what I like in my palettes. I like to have versatility, and even though, like I said, it is quite a monochromatic palette, which is not something that I usually go for, if there's ever going to be like a good, well-curated monochromatic palette, it's going to be something like this. So I'm really excited to be playing with this, and they also sent over 2 of their blushes, which I thought that we could just kind of do the blushes and the swatches of the blushes and highlighters like live, because there's only 3 of them. So we're going to start off with this one. So this is the blush in the shade called Cherub. I think that's how you say that. It's a beautiful cool tone, kind of light pink blush. So we're just going to go ahead and swatch this. I do have one blush from Unearthly from before, and it was very pigmented, and this one also seems very pigmented, but it seems light enough that I don't think I need to worry about it being like too pigmented. So that is a beautiful color. So the next blush here is in the shade Charmed Blush, and this is more of a purpley blush, which for the most part, I don't find that purpley blushes look that good on me, but it does seem like, swatched out, it seems a little bit more like a purpley pinky blush. Let me swatch them side by side actually, because I feel like they might be a little bit similar. Should have done that beforehand, but this is the one that I swatched first. Okay, so this is more of like a baby pink blush, and this is more of a like a lavender blush. So maybe we're just going to try both of these today, because why not, right? And it also comes with a highlighter. This is called the Bow and Arrow highlighter. I don't know exactly what the color of this is going to be yet, but we will find out. So it's a, is it a duochrome highlighter? It's like a peachy pink. That's actually beautiful. I think I'm going to start with these. We're going to try these out. I'm going to start with the sort of purpley blush here, and I just want to see, I kind of want to do a little bit of blush draping with this. So we're going to start with this one, which is the one called Charmed. I'm just going to go ahead and put that basically on. Oh, that's really pretty. That's actually not as purple as I was expecting at all, but it also could be because of like my undertone. And I think that a lot of the time, like purple blushes look a little bit intimidating, but they don't look as purple on the face unless you're very fair. But I'm definitely more of like a light, so it does blend in with my skin tone very nicely. And you can also see that it's definitely not too pigmented at all. I don't know how this blush would show up on someone with a darker skin tone. I can't imagine this working for everybody, but I do feel like a large amount of people would be able to use this. So I think that looks really pretty. I'm gonna save a little bit of room just like on the apples of my cheek for the pink blush. So we're going to use that one next. This is a shade called Cherub, which I'm not sure if that's how you say it, but I think it means angel or something. I could be absolutely wrong. Okay, so that's very pigmented and very pink, like very light pink. Again, I'm not sure if this color would look good on every skin tone. Probably not, because it's looking almost a little bit ashy even on me, but I do think I'm fair enough that I can pull this off. This isn't my favorite kind of blush color though. I don't really like something that's too white based for myself, or like so pastel, because it just, for me and my skin tone, it just doesn't look that great. I mean, it looks totally fine, but I do feel like it's a little bit too light in certain areas here, and it's just not my favorite color to have as a blush. I'm gonna go back in with the purple one just a little bit, because I just want to kind of darken everything up a bit, but at least you got to see sort of what it looked like. But it's definitely very pink, and if you're looking for like pink blushes or pink like face products, I think you would really like these. Let's go ahead and try out the highlighter. So let's see. I do find that with a lot of the Unearthly Cosmetics, really all of their newest products, anything that comes in a square pan, including their eyeshadows, are very hard pressed. So I'm not sure how this is going to, okay, so this picks up quite nicely on this brush. We're gonna go ahead and see what it looks like on. I do think that maybe, yeah, I probably need a bit of a denser brush with that, so let me try using my Sigma brush instead, because this one is definitely a little bit denser. And we're just gonna see, yeah, that makes a huge difference. So like your highlighters, depending on the way that they're pressed, is going to perform differently with different brushes. I mean, I know that's kind of like a duh, but I feel like a lot of the time we don't really consider that. I know I don't, and I used to not consider like which brush I use with my highlighters at all. And sometimes I would use a brush that just wasn't suitable for a highlighter, and I didn't get the result that I wanted because I was using the wrong brush. So if you want like a nice and intense result with this, I would say go in with more of a dense brush and kind of pack your brush a little bit and then go in with a highlighter. I'm gonna blush my nose because I forgot to do that, because I like to have highlighter on the tip of my nose, but I like to have blush down first so that you kind of get that cute little pink dot on the tip of my nose. I don't know, I just think it looks really cute, but that looks beautiful. I really like that. I like the highlighter more than I like the blushes, but I think it's mostly just like the very light lavender or very light pink blush that just, I feel like it's a little bit too light for me personally. But again, if you're fair, you're going to absolutely love that because that's going to look beautiful. I'm excited to play with the palette though. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh, I forgot. The collection also comes with a lip gloss, and I also forgot to say that I do have a code with Unearthly. I'll have it on the screen. I think it's just Annette is affiliated, but if you do want to pick anything up, it will help you save 10% at least. So here's what the gloss looks like. So this is more of a like a peachy orange. Did I say blush? I feel like I said gloss. I hope I said gloss. That's what I meant at least. So let's go ahead and give this a swatch as well. Okay, so it is definitely on the sheer side, but it does have a lot of like color particles in it. I definitely wouldn't say it's an opaque gloss by any means, so I am going to use a lip liner with this because I don't really like using glosses on their own. It smells like a little bit sweet and a little bit chemically at the same time. I don't know if that is a good description. Let me see if I can find some kind of a lip liner that's gonna go with this. I really feel like my cheeks are just a little bit too like gray looking. I'm not sure if that's coming across well on camera, but I just feel like this shade of pink is just not flattering on me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use more of a nude lip liner. This is the one from Sourmay in the shade Strict. It's like my, I don't know, perfect nude lip liner that I've been using for a very long time. Just gonna fill this in a little bit here. So now that I think about it, I don't know if I've ever tried any glosses from Unearthly. Have they come up with glosses before? I think that they had some in the winter collection or like the Christmas collection, but I didn't get those collections, so I don't think I've tried any glosses from them. So let's go ahead and try this. That is very pretty. It almost looks a little metallic, if I can say that, on the lips. Let me just finish this. It feels very nice. I wouldn't say it's like sticky, but it's also not sticky. It's kind of like somewhere in between. I do feel like this would be quite a long wearing gloss, and I do think it looks very nice on the lips. I think it has enough color on it to not just look like I have a lip liner with a lip gloss on top. Like for me, having a visible lip liner with a clear lip gloss is not a look that I enjoy on myself. Like a lot of people can pull that off, but I personally don't like that. So I like my whole lip to look like I have like a solid product on it, if that makes sense. So let's go ahead and test out the palette. I'm going to, of course, prime my eyes with my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base, which I have repurchased a new one. I know I said that in my last video too, but I'm just really excited. I hate running out of products, and I'm one of those people, I hate using up products. I don't know, it's like, but then I have to buy a new one. And I don't really want to have to buy a new one unless I have to, you know? So using up a product isn't really like an accomplishment for me, it's more like a shit. Now I have to spend more money on the same product, you know? But let's go ahead and see what I can do with this palette. So I have seen some people post their videos on this already, but I haven't actually watched their videos. I just saw their thumbnails, and it looked like most people have done like a pink or purple look, which, I mean, what else are you really gonna do with this palette, right? So I'm probably gonna do a pink or purple look too. Or maybe a little bit of both. So let's see. I should also probably point out that all of the shades in the Unearthly palettes are depottable, which is why you have that little square in here so you can pop out the shadows. I don't actually want to do that because then it might fall out, but just something to keep in mind if you have like a big selection of single shadows. Maybe you want to create your own palettes, you can use these along with, you know, your single shadow. You know how this works. So let's see. I think we're gonna not do anything too fancy. I don't think I'm gonna go with like the super pinks. I think I want to mostly work with like these three mattes here. Not sure exactly how I want to do that, but I think we're just gonna start with the brightest of the pinks in the crease. Just gonna take that on a small fluffy brush here. Not gonna do anything super fancy. I just want to see how this palette performs. And from my experience with Unearthly's mattes especially, they're very pigmented, they're very easy to work with. I've never had any issues per se, so I don't really imagine having any issues with this one either. That's going on the eye very, very nicely, super pigmented, probably going to be very easy to blend out. We're going to see how they build though, because that is always the true test of matte eyeshadows, but so far, I'd say we're off to a pretty good start. I'm going to take this underneath my eye as well, just going to run this all the way across. And I'm also just going to wing this out ever so slightly because I just like that look on my eye shape. And I just find that sometimes the brush just kind of does it for me. It's just kind of where the crevices in my eyes are. It just kind of follows along here, but that looks beautiful. Really, really nice. So I'm going to switch to my Rephr 13 and I think we're going to use, what do I want to use to deepen this up with? Do I want to use sort of more like the brown shade? I think that's gonna, I don't know, like that almost looks like a dark plum, which I kind of like that. Like it has that sort of purpley undertone to it. And I find that this one is a little bit darker than this one. And this one, it's very dark, but it's got little like glitter particles in it. And I'm not sure how that's gonna look on the eye. So maybe we'll use both. Maybe I'm gonna start with this one. This is the shade called Cuddles. That's a very cute name. And I'm gonna use that as the deepening shade, and we're gonna see if maybe I can build a third shade on top of this. Normally I don't really like building more than two on top of each other because that's when it tends to start to struggle, but I do trust Alien, or I just said Alien Cosmetics. That's what they used to be called. If you're new to this brand, they rebranded, but I am used to Unearthly's formula being very buildable, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. So maybe we'll just try it just to see how it goes. I do feel like on the eyes, maybe this is looking a little bit more brown than what I was expecting. I thought maybe it would pull a little bit purplish, but I do feel like it's more of a, like a milk chocolate, like a dark milk chocolate. That's not a thing, but it's not a dark chocolate. It's like a 65% chocolate. That's how I would explain the depth of this brown, but it's actually really nice and it's layering super well on top of that pink as well. I'm gonna take it like almost all the way through my crease, but I do want the front portion of like my lid here to be lighter than the outer portion. And I think I'm also going to take this a little bit under my eye as well, just in the outer corner so I can connect it. These are blending together very, very nicely. So let's try to go a little bit deeper. I'm gonna take the shade which is called Sleepover, which is the name of the palette, and we're gonna see if I can see any of like the glitters on my eyes here. It mostly looks matte on the eye, but I can see a little bit of like sparkles, but not so much that you look at me and you're like, did you use one of those mattes with glitters in it? Because you can't really see it. It almost just turns into a bit of a, not a satin, but it's almost got like a creamy finish to it. That actually looks really nice, and I'm pleasantly surprised because I tend to not like those kind of shades, but I do feel like it's helping it be easier to work with, and it's blending and building like a dream. Like that is beautiful. That actually looks so much better than I was expecting, and I don't know why, because I mean, why wouldn't this look good from Unearthly? Like this is beautiful and so, like I said, so easy to work with. I could actually see myself reaching for this as a deepening shade to like other palettes and other colors as well, because this is looking so nice. And I'm glad I'm not seeing really any of those little glitter specks in it, because it's just not really a look that I like to go for. So that actually looks so nice. I don't know why I'm surprised, because I like everything else I have from Unearthly. Okay, so I'm gonna work on the blend just a little bit more. Just gonna go back in with the first pink that I used and make sure that I bring that back a little bit and just get a better blend between all of the colors here. So that looks great. The question is, what shimmers do I want to do on my lid? I think I want to kind of play with a lot of these. Normally, I wouldn't go for a shade like this because this is definitely more of a satin, but I do feel like satins do have a time and place, and I feel like if there's ever a good time to use it, it's to sort of use it as a connector between a matte and a shimmer. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of this on, just blend it into that darker outer corner and use this as a bridge between the shimmer that I'm gonna put in the front portion and the outer corner, and this is just going to help blend very nicely. I would never use it as an all over the lid shade, but I do like it for this purpose. And if there's gonna be, in my opinion, like a satin in the palette, I do prefer to be one of the darkest shades in the palette, because that to me just sort of makes a little bit more sense. And if you're someone who struggles to blend dark colors, using a satin in a way that you would use a dark matte can definitely be a way to go. I'm just gonna go back in a little bit with the darkest shade and just tap that over the edge here, but you can see just how nicely that lays on the lid. If you have very textured eyelids, satins can definitely be a way to go. If you don't like that boom in your face, like shine and sparkle that I'm into, you would probably really like a shade like this. So for the rest of my lid, I am going to use some of my NYX glitter primer. Just taking a little bit on the back of my hand, and I'm just gonna put that on the front portion of my lids. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this shade right here probably on the rest of my lid, like the front portion of my lid, and we're gonna play with some more of these under my eye as well. So I'm gonna put that basically on the front here, like I said. That is really, really pretty. I have said before though, I do wish that the Unearthly shimmers wouldn't be pressed as hard, because I feel like the round pans that they used to have, the shimmers were a lot more impactful and intense and easier to work with and easier to pick up. Like this is totally going on the eye fine. Like I'm not having any issues per se, but I just felt like the round pans, the shimmer formula was a little bit different and a little bit more like what I prefer, but this is still really, really pretty. Like I'm not having any complaints here. It's just taking a little bit more effort to get on the eyes and a few more dips into the pan to get that nice and intense and opaque look that I'm going for, which, I mean, this looks beautiful. You can't tell me otherwise. Like this looks really, really nice. So I'm gonna use one more shade because I need a little bit just underneath my eye here. I'm gonna take the shade called Bouquet, which is the beautiful sort of pinky peachy shade. I'm gonna spray this a little bit. I do want this to be nice and intense, but I really like this look. I really like how these colors all just work so nicely together, which, I mean, is to be expected with a monochromatic palette. They're all going to look really nice together. But I feel like they did, like I said in the beginning, a really good job picking colors that like make sense. Like it's one thing to just put a lot of pinks and purples together in a palette, but to make sure that the colors that you pick are the right formula to go with each other, I feel like that is something that a lot of brands sometimes overlook, and they're like, oh, that is a really, really pretty shimmery green, but they don't think about like what that shimmery green is going to pair with. They just look at shades individually, and a lot of the time the colors end up like not really working that well together. But I feel like here everything works great, and I really like this as a under eye shimmer. I think that looks really pretty. For the inner corner, I am of course going to use the lightest of the shades in the palette, which is called Laughter, which is this one right here. And I'm not going to spray this. I just want to see how intense it is without spraying, and that's really pretty. I like that this has a little bit of like a gold undertone to it. I feel like that goes very nicely. It makes a bit of a contrast to the cool tone pinks. And this would also be really nice if you want to do like a full neutral look with this palette. You could absolutely do that with that brown that I used as my second shade, and then this one just all over the lid if you want something super easy. But I really like this. I think this is beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and finish off with the rest of my eyes, just do like some liner, mascara and stuff, and then I'll come back and tell you my, I guess, final thoughts on this collection. Okay, so like I said, didn't do anything crazy. I did some liner, mascara. I did a little bit of yellow in my waterline because I felt like with the inner corner sort of being a yellowy gold, I thought it would look kind of nice to have like a pastel yellow. This one is from ColourPop. It's in the shade Extra Frosting. I never know if these are available. You're just gonna have to look on ColourPop's website and see if you can find a color that's maybe similar to this if you don't have one already. But let's talk about the collection. So I think that, let's start with the gloss. The gloss, I really like the gloss. It's very comfortable. It has a little bit of stick to it, but in a way, like I said before, that is going to be long lasting. Like it's not, You don't get those weird like stringy lines in between your lips or anything like that. It feels like it's on your lips very well. And I think the color of it is really nice as well. I think it looks beautiful with this lip liner. Does it go with this look necessarily? Not sure. I would have probably preferred more of like a pinky gloss to go with this collection rather than a peachy orangey gloss, just because of like the rest of the tones in here, but that's just me being nitpicky, and I think that on its own this gloss is beautiful. The face products, I would say that my favorite is probably the highlighter, because I feel like the highlighter is the product that is the most suitable for my skin tone. I'm just gonna use a little bit more here because I felt like I lost it a little bit. But I think this looks really, really nice. And like I said, if you're of my skin tone, I think this would look beautiful. The blushes aren't my favorite colors, but I think the formula is really nice. I'm gonna just put on a little bit more of the sort of purpley one, because the pink one I felt like was overpowering the look a little bit. Or maybe it's just my undertone that I don't feel like really goes that well with these blush colors, but let me know what you think. Like, I feel like I could pull it off, and I don't feel like people would look at me weirdly and be like, what is that blush you're wearing? I just feel like for me, it's a little bit out of my comfort zone when it comes to blushes, and I'm just maybe not used to seeing it on myself. So not my favorite blush colors, but like I said, I think the formulas are really nice, and I think that if you're of a lighter skin tone than I am, I think these will look really, really nice. The palette, I am kind of blown away. Like, this looks so nice. If you're looking for a pink and purple sort of monochromatic palette that can go in a lot of different directions, you can definitely do like more neutral looks with this. You can do more pink looks with this. You can do like a pastel look with this. I think that there's a lot going on in this palette, and I think that for being a 9-pan and a quite monochromatic palette, there's actually quite a lot you can do with this. And also, if you have other palettes from Unearthly, you can kind of mix and match them because they are depottable, like I said. So I think that's a really cool idea. And I really like this palette. I had a great time with it. I think the formula is beautiful. If there are any palettes from Unearthly that you're considering, I don't think you can go wrong. Like I said in the beginning, I haven't had any problems with any of their palettes. I think that they are beautiful. They have a really nice formula, and they're just a joy to work with. So let me know if you picked up anything from this collection. Let me know if you want to see more looks with this. I probably won't unless there's like a very high command, because I do have other things coming in. I actually got a package from Hindash the other day, which I did buy that palette myself, and I do want to really film with that one because I'm super curious. I've seen some other reviews on it and they've been kind of meh, so I'm curious to see what I think. So I'm excited for that, and I know I have other packages coming as well, so not sure if I'm going to have time to revisit this, but if you do want to see it, do let me know. Maybe I can do like a little short or something. So that's going to be it for today. If you want to see some more Unearthly Cosmetics content, the word I was looking for, I do have a playlist which is right there, and if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.